Enrolling into Medicare can be very confusing. You have to choose the right enrollment period and follow the right process. So in this video, I'm going to show you the insider's guide to enrolling into Medicare so you will do it at the right time. Now, surrounding this topic of enrolling into Medicare, there's three critical issues that you have to understand. The first one is being eligible for Medicare benefits. And so anyone who has paid into the Medicare tax system through FICA taxes that is paid in for at least 40 quarters, which is basically saying they have worked for at least 10 years or longer and they've been paying in FICA taxes or self-employment taxes. As long as they have that, they're going to be eligible to draw Medicare benefits off of their own work record. Now, if you're presently working for someone, what's happening is every dollar you make, 6.20% goes into Social Security and 1.45% is going into Medicare. All right. Now, if you're self-employed, you pay the full amount. But if you work for someone, your employer actually is matching that amount. So you pay in 7.65, and your employer does as well to fund these two systems. Self-employed people will, of course, pay the full 15.30%. So we're all funding Medicare. We're funding Social Security as well. So we have to have at least 40 quarters paid into that system. Now, there are times when people don't have those 40 quarters of their own. And if that's the case, then we try to get those from someone else's work record, and that would be a spouse or an ex-spouse. So here's the rules on that. So if we're going to draw from our present spouse, someone you've been married to, as long as you have been married for 1 year or longer, you can draw your benefits off of their work record as long as they are eligible for Social Security. They don't have to be taking, but they have to be at least eligible. So if you're trying to draw your 40 quarters off someone that's 60 years old, that is not going to work at all. They're going to have to be at least 62 and married 1 year. Then you can draw those benefits off the work record. You just have to prove marriage, and you can start your benefits that way. Now, if it's going to be off an ex-spouse, those rules are a little bit different, and that's this. If you're going to draw from your ex-spouse, which meaning you didn't have your own 40 quarters, you had to be married to that person you're trying to draw from for at least 10 years or longer. They too have to be eligible for Social Security, not taking, and then you can draw your benefits. Now, here's the issue. If you remarried, in other words, you're no longer married to this person and you remarried prior to the age of 60, you cannot draw benefits from the ex-spouse. Okay, but if that second marriage that happened before age 60 has ended in death or divorce, then you can still go back to that ex-spouse. So the point is you have to have been married, if you did remarry, it has to be after 60 or you have to be single to draw benefits off of the ex-spouse. So either way, we're trying to get 40 quarters, either your own work record or someone else's. Hey, just real quick, we often hear from our viewers that they wish that they would have seen a video earlier because they made a decision that really wasn't in their best interest, or they made a decision without having this information and it cost them financially. And we don't want that to happen to you. We upload 3 times every week, and the only way you're going to know about our new videos is if you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification. We're constantly giving away brand new strategies, updates, and comparisons that you don't want to miss. So click the subscribe button below this video right now and turn on notifications so that you never miss another video. So that's Medicare eligibility. Second issue I want to address is actually enrolling into Medicare. And so we're talking about getting into Medicare A and B. And so the first thing we have to realize is that people that are already receiving Social Security benefits, they're taking benefits either retirement or spousal or survivor, you're going to be automatically enrolled into Medicare at 65. And so what happens, about 100 days prior to your birth month, your Medicare card is going to show up in the mail. They know you're receiving Social Security benefits. They assume you don't have a group plan available, so they will mail you your Medicare A and B card. So there's nothing you have to do if you're taking Social Security. You absolutely are going to be automatically enrolled, and the A and B card will show up. Okay, now for those of you that are not on Social Security, nothing is going to happen for you automatically. You actually have to self-enroll. You got to initiate the enrollment. You got to raise your hand and say, hey, I'm ready to start Medicare. Now, let me be very clear who you are. You must go on Medicare at 65 if you're covered by you or your spouse's retiree insurance. If you're covered by COBRA insurance, got to go on Medicare at 65. If you're covered by an ACA plan, you're going to start Medicare at 65. Now, just so you know, you can technically keep an ACA plan, but all the tax subsidies, all the cost sharing go away. And so now you're going to be paying full cost for that and out of pocket with high deductibles and copays. And so there's no reason to keep an ACA plan once you're Medicare eligible. So again, on a retiree plan, on a COBRA plan, on an ACA plan. Also, if you are covered by TRICARE insurance, which means you're retired from the military, you have TRICARE insurance, you can keep that for the rest of your life, but what happens at 65, so you've got to enroll in Medicare A and B to put Medicare in the first payer position, then TRICARE will pay second to Medicare, all right? And then it's called TRICARE for life. And then lastly, if you have a group employer plan that you're covered by, and in that company there's 19 employees or less, you have to go on Medicare A and B because now the company plan is going to pay second. So you have to enroll in Medicare to put Medicare in the first payer position. All right, so that's the people that have to start. Now, if you're still working or your spouse is still working and you're covered by an employer plan and there happens to be 20 employees or more in that group, you don't have to do anything with Medicare. In fact, it's the only people that don't start Medicare at 65. It's they or their spouse still working, covered by a group plan, and there's 20 employees or more. You don't have to do anything with Medicare. You don't have to enroll in A, you don't have to enroll in B, and there'll be no penalties, no problems whatsoever. When you lose that group plan, then you can come into Medicare, all right? And so if I have to start Medicare at 65 and I'm not on Social Security, I have to self-enroll. And the key to this is enrollment is you must enroll during what is called your initial enrollment period, because if you don't, you're going to have penalties and problems down the road. Now, that initial enrollment period only lasts 7 months. So if you have to self-enroll, we have 7 months to do it. But when you enroll, we'll determine when they start you. So let's just say my birthday is 7/15/1958. That means I would start Medicare at first eligibility 7/1/2023. Again, this is a 7-month sign-up. So I can sign up 3 months before, the month of my birth month, or 3 months after. All right? And so what's happening here is this 7 months, here's the way it works. If I enroll into Medicare, remember we're talking about self-enrolling. If I enroll into Medicare, I do it 3 months before, my Medicare coverage will start in July. But if I put it off for whatever reason, if I enroll in July, they'll start me in August. I enroll in August, they'll start me in September. And enroll in September, they start me in October. Then they would start me 11/1/2023. And that would be the latest month in which you can actually start if we're going to start at 65. And so you must do this during the 7-month window. And obviously, if you don't have any insurance, the smartest thing to do is do this in advance so you'll start when you're first eligible to do so. And so we have to enroll during our initial enrollment period. Now, so if I'm a self-enroller, the process is I'm going to start by going to My SSA and set up a myssa.gov account. It takes you about 10 minutes to do that. And then after that, you can go online on your SSA.gov account, and you can roll into A and B, all right? So this whole process maybe take you 20 minutes. Keep in mind you work with us. We'd be happy to do all this with you. So that's the second issue, enrolling at the proper time. Now, for those of you that don't have to start at 65, you're gonna come in later. I mean when you retire or when your spouse retires, and you're gonna come in using what is called a special enrollment period. So this is for people that start their Medicare after 65. So they may be 66, 67, 72, 79, whatever. They're going to come in using the special enrollment period because this enrollment period is long gone. And there's no problems using a special enrollment period as long as you or your spouse were covered all the way back to 65 by some kind of an active employer-provided plan that had 20 people or more in it. You can do this. Now, there's some additional paperwork involved. We have to prove you've had credible coverage back to 65. We do that with a form called an L564. And then we also submit a form called 40B. And with those two documents, we can come in anytime without any penalties or any problems. So it's just a different process. And so again, the IEP is for those that start at 65. The SEP is for those that are going to start after 65 because they chose to stay covered by an employer-provided plan that had 20 people or more in the company. Hey, if you're finding this video helpful, I want to invite you to go right up here and actually click on a link that will allow you to watch what I call the Medicare Essentials Workshop. It's a workshop that I did that really is going to show you everything you need to know about Medicare from A to Z, how to enroll, when to enroll, and the plan options for you. So go to that link and check it out. Now, the last item I want to address with getting into Medicare and this insider's guide will be the expenses of Medicare A and B. All right, now, as long as we have 40 quarters paid in that tax system, Medicare Part A will be at 0 premium for life. Well, why is that? Well, because you've been paying into that system all your life, at least 40 quarters, and most of you have 30, 40 years of work where you paid into that. So they don't charge you a premium for your Medicare Part A. Part A is 0 premium. Now, if we don't have 40 quarters, now we actually can buy Medicare Part A depending upon how many quarters you have. Now, again, the best thing is to get those 40 quarters from someone else if you can, an existing spouse or an ex-spouse. But if you can't, now we can buy it. So if I have anywhere from 30 to 39 quarters right now, that costs $278 a month. Okay, so A will not be free for you. You're going to have to pay for it. If we have anywhere from 0 to 29 quarters, we can still buy it, but now it's going to go to $506 a month for my Medicare Part A. And again, if you don't have a group plan, you really have no other option except to do this. And so it's very critical that you understand that you need to take your Medicare A. If you got to buy it, you need to take it when you're first eligible. Either that's at 65 or when you retire if you choose to retire at a later date. All right, because this is the group of people, whenever you have to buy A, if we don't start A on time, for every year you didn't have A, they're going to charge you a 10% penalty per year, and that would be double the years. So if I go without 1 year, they're going to add a 10% penalty to this, and I pay it 2 years. If I go without 2 years, I have a 20% penalty, and I would pay that 4 years. And that penalty, again, is going to be added to those premium amounts. Now, I encourage people, if they're up here and they're very, very close to the 40 quarters, if you can, go back to work, because you don't have to work the whole year to get 4 quarters. Now, you can get no more than 4 quarters in 1 year, but again, you don't have to work the whole year. So here's the way it works. And again, every year these numbers change, but right now, the 2023 quarter is equal to $1,640. And so all you have to do is make $1,640 in W-2 income or net self-employment income that you report, and you picked up a quarter. So if I need 4 quarters in the year, I don't have to work the whole year. I just got to make that amount right there. So what is that? That amount is 16 and 1, 24, 25 and 2. So that's $6,560 that I would make in 2023, and that would give me my 4 quarters. All right? And so if you're real close, it's better to go back to work if you can and accumulate those, because then having to pay, $3,000 a year for your Part A, go back and make a little over $6,500, and you can pick up the 40 quarters, and then you move up here to this column where Medicare A is going to be free. All right? So that is the Medicare A premium. Hey, if you're finding this video helpful, I want to invite you to go right up here and actually click on a link that will allow you to watch what I call the Medicare Essentials Workshop. It's a workshop that I did that really is going to show you everything you need to know about Medicare from A to Z, how to enroll, when to enroll, and the plan options for you. So go to that link and check it out. Now let's talk about the Medicare Part B premium. Part B is that outpatient side of Medicare. Now this premium is based upon your income. All right, and so the income that we're going to look at is called modified adjusted gross income. And so if I'm going to be on Medicare in 2023, they're going to look back at my 2021 tax returns, modified adjusted gross income, which is your adjusted gross income, which is typically line 11, and they're going to add in that or adjust that by modifying it by adding back in what is typically, I think it's line 2B, which is for tax exempt interest. So they take your adjusted gross income, add that back into a tax exempt interest, which is typically municipal bonds or maybe U.S. savings bonds that were used for continuing education, maybe foreign income, but they put those two numbers together, and that's the number that the IRS will report to Medicare to establish your Part B premium. Okay, so this modified adjusted gross income, what we have is we have a schedule of income. So if you are a single filer and your modified adjusted gross is $97,000 or less, or you're a married couple that files a joint return, $194,000 modified adjusted gross income or less. In this situation, each of you would pay $164.90 a month for your Part B premium. So this is a cost for it. It's based upon income, and they adjust these every single year. If you're on Social Security, that comes out of your check. If you're not, they'll either bill you quarterly or set up a bank draft to pay that on a monthly basis. All right, and so we're going to pay for Part B premium. Now keep this in mind, if I'm above $97,000 as a single filer or above $194,000 as a married, then what you're going to have are additional charges called Irmas. and that stands for income-related monthly adjusted amounts. So these are surcharges added to your Part B, and they also add it to your drug plan. So we have Irmas on B, and we have Irmas on D. And they basically range anywhere from $80 a month upwards to about $480 a month, depending upon what your income is going to be. So these are the expenses that are going to be involved in Medicare once you start.